Hey folks, man, this is Monk, and we are back with another episode of Classes of Cinematics. And I'm joined as always with my co-host, we got Bobby Blockbuster.
Yo, yo, yo!
Yeah, folks, and today we're going to be talking about a classic of horror, and we will be talking about 1979's Phantasm. And I'll give you a brief synopsis so you know what this film is about. In this film, the residents of a small town have begun dying under strange circumstances, leading young Mike to investigate. After discovering that the tall man, the town's mortician, is killing and reanimating the dead as misshapen zombies, Mike seeks help from his older brother Jody and the local ice cream man Reggie. Working together, they try to lure out and kill the tall man, and all the while avoiding his minions and a deadly silver sphere. And this film has quite a cult following, led to about, I think, 3 sequels to this thing. 5? Damn. That's crazy, man. Yeah, I'm seeing a Phantasm Ravager from 2016. Mm-hmm. So, as recently as 2016, they were making editions of this film. But let's get into it and break down the things that stand out about this film.
I mean, for me personally, when you go into films that were made in the mid to late 70s going into the 80s, these were the ones that were, groundbreaking in the horror genre because of the originality in the stories, the concepts, and most of all the shock value. And this one, it doesn't fall short on that. Now, when it comes to the story, I didn't know this. I've seen this movie 1,000 times. Didn't know that the director Coscarelli was approached by Reggie Bannister, and he actually plays Reggie in the film, and he approached Coscarelli and was like, "Yo, I think that we should adapt a film off of Ray Bradbury's Something Wicked, This Way Comes," which I
love that movie.
Yeah, which they found out later on that week that Disney actually bought the rights to the novel, so they decided that, along the same lines, they wanted to make another film that just kind of followed the same concept with a nosy kid kind of getting into shit, but that strayed away from the original story arc. So I thought that was a cool idea, a good premise and a good base to kind of create this film off of, what I mean, out the gate. You know what I mean? And then, what better than, nosy kids, man. Like it
was the premise of a lot of films.
We've seen so many of them.
Or just someone stumbling upon things in general, which is kind of how this film starts off. I mean, we see, I think it's their dad's funeral.
No, it's Tommy. Tommy is
their friend.
Tommy is the friend of of Mike's older brother Jody and Reggie.
So while that funeral is going on, that's when our little kid character in here,
Mike.
I like this kid, man. Mike, played by Michael Baldwin, and he's just riding his dirt bike, which is wild. He's riding his dirt bike through the cemetery while these guys are inside in a funeral, and he just stumbles upon like a strange figure out there, and sees some things that just don't look quite right, and it kind of gives you the indicator that something is going on in this town. And I think that's kind of interesting, and it goes on from there. Most of this film is told from his point of view and him and his brother and his interactions. And it's interesting, the title of this film is Phantasm, and the meaning of that is supposed to be people who are seeing, it's like hallucinations of a supernatural origin, like someone like a mental condition. You're seeing ghosts, you know what I'm saying, or you're seeing things that aren't there, apparitions, whatever. And
it was used heavily in Edgar Allan Poe writings to describe like a dream state, nightmares, or a sense of unreality. So which it all kind of comes full circle with the way that this film works, because like you said, when Jody, Michael's older brother, comes back in town for this funeral of their friend, Mike is just, he's following around. And obviously, the parents are dead. We find that out. So all he has left is Jody. So he's hooked to his hip, and he's just cruising around the cemetery. And when he sees what we find out is the guy's name is the Tall Man, and he's played by Angus Scrimm. Ain't that a name? Angus Scrimm. That's scary as it is. But my man almost sounds like a burger, right? Let me order that Angus Scrimm. It comes with kale instead of lettuce. But nevertheless. Nevertheless, fucking Mike is in the cut, being a nosy kid. This is where, you know, it's like, man, come on, man. Like, kids with too much liberties, man, you stick your nose where it don't belong. You find
they
out
could
shit.
Also save the world.
They
too.
Could save the world, and I mean, in this case, he saves the town.
Or save the town from angry real estate developers.
That's true. That's true. Yes, but yeah, man, he's hiding off in the cut because, you know, he doesn't want any parts of the funeral and everything, and he's off there in the cut with his binoculars and stuff, and he sees the tall man who is the mortician deadlift the coffin with the body in one arm. Yang puts it up in the hearse, and I mean,
coffin's heavy, bro.
Yeah. To put it lightly.
Yeah, if you're not getting that plywood special, then them guys got some weight to them.
I mean, not for nothing. No disrespect to the tall man. Even though he's tall, he's also on a little long in the tooth.
He's slim.
He's tall.
And
he's slim. He's old. Yeah. So, you ain't deadlifting no coffin.
Imagine Shaggy from Scooby Doo once he cleans up and he gets to 70 and he's respectable. Like, that kind of physique.
Yeah. So, but this then, you know, it just really gets the wheels turning for Mike, and he's like, man, something's going on up at the you know, at the morgue, at the cemetery, and you know, what really kind of gets him going is the fact that he's like, you know, my parents was buried there. You know what I'm saying? I want to know a little more about what's going on.
This freakiness is going on.
Yeah,
and I think that kind of calls back to the title of the film. It's almost as if Mikey is afflicted with the phantasms. He's seeing crazy stuff that's not there. Because imagine trying to explain this stuff to an adult, which is what he does with his brother most of this film, until he gets to a point where he gets jumped in the inside the thing, and he's defending himself. And that's kind of a cool shot though. The hand at the door. And he slices it.
That's my favorite part. The knife. And then all the fingers moving.
Yeah, and the finger falls off and it's still twitching. And he grabs one and puts it in a box. And you know, he's already told his brother crazy stuff. The brother's like, man, you're crazy. Shut up, kid. Until he shows him that finger. And then it's like a light switch goes off. He's like, yo, this kid ain't lying.
He looks at him like, I believe you, Mike. Let's go to the sheriff.
Yeah, man. This thing's rough around the edges with the narrative, in my opinion. But you know, but it goes from there. From there, his brother's on his side, and you know, and they're trying to figure out what's going on and being cautious about they arm up, they tool up. You know, as they say, across the pond. And, you know, and then it goes from there, man. Like it's crazy.
What I like about it too is as they're getting ready for how they're going to maneuver, you know, infiltrating the cemetery, the morgue, the mortician. He on the same token is doing the same thing. Like once the kid was exposed, then the tall man starts seeking him out. Like he's haunting him in his dreams, and he's sending his little. He's kind of like, if you think of like an evil Willy Wonka, because he also has his little robed up little Oompa Loompa demon dwarfs that he has kind of like his minions kind of trolling the scene and everything, and he sends them out to go and mess with young Michael as well and do the dirty work, and that's actually, you know, what kind of prompts Mike to start going into the cemetery, or not the cemetery, the actual what do you call what
mausoleum?
Is it a mausoleum?
Well, usually the place where bodies are prepared, that's going to be your funeral home. You know, but
this is where they're like kept. It's like it's
that's a mausoleum. Where they got the individual. They're in blocks.
Yeah, they're in boxes. It looks all marble. Looks nice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Above the ground. Like,
that's
honestly, that's just a scam for rich people.
Yeah,
like, you'd be perfectly fine in the ground,
and he.
I won't be on the wall next to everybody.
Yeah,
you know? At least in the ground, I got my own space
and file cabinets.
I can spread my arms in my little coffin.
You know what I'm saying? He won with the earth.
My ghost, he got some space.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And then if you get to have like a Return of the Living Dead moment, you know what I'm saying? It's more dramatic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, them jokers ain't getting out that.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
You can't get out the file cabinet.
Like, imagine everybody coming back to life, eating people, and you just stuck in the box. You can't get out.
You just like, man, now I'm back and I'm hungry.
You just hearing everything going on out
shaking, beatboxing in the cupboard. You know what I mean? Let me out. But so he keeps going back to the mausoleum. You know, trying to see what's really going on.
I do give it credit for that, because that just funeral homes and all that, it automatically gives you atmosphere because no one really likes to be in some places. There was a show I was watching on Netflix. I wonder if they're ever going to come back. It was a funeral home family. It was a reality show, and it looked like the way they presented it. It looked light. It looked happy. They were having fun. It was just a business, but it's still a creepy place for me. Like I couldn't work there. I couldn't, even though I know these things are dead and they can't do to me. I've seen too many movies like this as a kid, and I'm just gonna be in there late at night by myself, like.
No.
Like, let me get up out of here.
No.
Like, I'm going to be looking, all the lights going to be on. You know.
No. There's nothing lighthearted and fun and jokey about
couldn't do it, man.
Death and hanging out with corpses. I would just not want to do it. Like you said, I've seen too many movies. You know, every sound,
mess me up, man.
Anytime it thunderstorms, anytime the lights flicker, anything.
I used to be in a big office on the weekends after hours by myself, and that used to get creepy sometimes. Every now and then, it just sounded different. The air got weird. It's just like, man, you know, let me hurry up and get this shit done and get the fuck out of here.
Exactly. Yeah. The freaks come out at night.
Something about places, and like I said, the cemetery makes it even worse. Just being around that kind of shit.
And you know,
or mausoleum or mortuary. That's the word, mortuary. That's also a funeral home.
There we go.
Kind of.
All right, you know, see, we're pushing through this one, y'all. We're doing this for y'all. You know what I'm saying? But I commend Coscarelli because he did make note. He said some of the best horror films at this time started off in the cemetery. You know what I'm saying? What more can you think of than Night of the Living Dead? I mean, that's
a few
that's the GOAT. That's the GOAT, and you know he wanted to follow that that energy with this, and I mean it really sets the tone, and then it just kind of like as we cruise through it. I mean it's creepy. I think that this one carries a lot more of a heavy shock value if you saw it in '79. By this point,
the younger you see it, it's gonna work because I watched it for the first time this time, and I'm like.
And I mean, now in 2024, you know the kind of horrors that we've seen at this point. I mean, we're desensitized, we're numb to this kind of stuff. But you can see the energy that this one was bringing, and for the time, the creativity and the originality that it did bring to the horror genre, and that's why I like this film so much because you got to this is one that you got to time capsule this one, you know what I'm saying? And for anyone who hasn't seen it, you know, it's like, let's see where some of these later directors that might be household names now got some of their ideas from, you know. And, you know, when it comes to, you know, iconic horror figures, you think Freddy, you think Jason, you think Candyman, you think the Tall Man.
Tall Man is definitely up
by
there,
Angus Scrimm. Angus Scrimm did this, man, as the Tall Man. And, you know, and he does it with minimal dialogue. A lot of it is facial expressions and his walk, his demeanor.
He got no facial expression. He just looks.
He does like the Rock's people's eyebrow, dog. He like closes one eye,
but he
scowls at you.
It's like stoic. That's what I would describe his face. It's almost like like when you think of an evil businessman, that's what this guy kind of looks like to me. Like he would have been the Duke brothers' father. I'm just thinking of just some really, like, his suit is always in immaculate condition, you know, and he's just really well kept, but he just looks like, bro, you don't belong. Where do you don't fit in nowhere. Like, you just look scary. Even if he was the nicest guy, if this guy was my neighbor and I knew for 100% he was the nicest guy, just his look alone gets you freaked out, though.
Because he looks like he's always going to a funeral. He looks like he's surrounded by death, and that is creepy. And you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of the dude from Poltergeist 2, man.
Or you know what? This is probably 20 years before he's the grandpa in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, man.
He just has this look that's just like, bro, you look creepy as hell, man. I give him props for that, man. Yeah.
No, and
they definitely got one by establishing this character.
Definitely did, and I love how like it's the little things that matter, because even though he's the tall man on screen and in this film, he's really not that tall. Like, he's 6'4", and you know I'm 6'4" and a lot of change.
A 6'4" dude, you know, can say that. that, you know. But if you like the average man size is like 5'9",
you know,
this mug looks like
I'm
a
thinking
giant,
if
bro.
somebody's called the tall man, you better be like 7'3". You know what I'm saying?
He's Frankenstein. He's like a skinny Frankenstein.
You gotta be able to dunk standing up with your feet on the ground, dog. But it's the things that they did to enhance that. Like one of them was they put him in these high heel boots, and you can see that when he does one part where he's walking down the street. I mean, he's got these things got heels, dog. I mean, so that added another like 3-4 inches. And then there's one part where it was actor Bill Thornbury who played Jody. He's actually 6'4" as well. And his first interaction with the tall man, where the tall man tells him, he's like, "Yeah, the funeral's about to start, sir." That's one of his famous lines. They actually had him stand on a milk crate. So he towered over him as well. So, I mean, these are the kind of things that just really kind of enhance this character, and, you know, with the name and with the demeanor and the presence that he brings as the tall man, as the horror figment. And then, you know, what's more creepy than a dude that also turns into like a chick and lures in dudes like lustfully. Like he's also the lady in lavender, and she's like, you know, trolling the bars and taking people and, you know, having sex with them in the cemetery, then stabbing them in the stomach.
I really don't know the extent.
Not cool.
I don't know the extent of his powers. Like, I know he has this creepy look, but he apparently can shapeshift to a degree. So that's kind of interesting. You know, as we see before when he's, you know, playing the role of that woman and it changed in the very beginning.
He does it multiple times.
Yeah,
he does it multiple times.
Oh man! So now it just hit me, yo, man. The brother was with that one scene, yo, and he had the panties in his mouth.
He did, yes. And yet again, he's like, "What's going on?"
That was the tall man.
Yeah, it was the tall man, exactly. And, you know, and that thanks again to young Mike being all nosy, you know, trolling the bushes. Mm-hmm. He wants us to watch his brother Jody get some action and stuff, and, you know, but then one of the crazy little dwarfs kind of messed with him, and then so he goes running off. And you know, it's funny because I was watching the commentary because I have the DVD that released a few years back, and it's got all this commentary, all this cool stuff going on with it. And they said that it's been duly noted that the dwarfs in this, they strike a very similar resemblance to the Jawas from the first Star Wars. Everybody knows that, right? Yeah. But the crazy thing is, that
probably came down to budget too, man. They couldn't get too fancy.
The thing is that
we never seen one of their faces.
They said that the concept art for the dwarfs in this, they already started the works on this in 1977, before Star Wars dropped, before they knew anything about what the Jawas would look like, before they even knew anything about Star Wars the film. And
man, sometimes by the time be coincidental.
Yeah, by the time Star Wars dropped, like they sent one of their runners out to go get pictures of what the Jawas looked, and they were like, "Oh man, this is really, really close." But they had shot so many scenes with these dwarfs already in it. Yeah, they decided they were going to rock with it.
Yeah, this is a weird film, man. I mean, other than the tall man, I think my favorite character is probably going to be Mikey. Like, it's just cool. Like even though he is annoying and stuff like that, but he's the one that's being vigilant. And being vigilant, I mean, he's the one that's stepping in. Like, even when his brother sends him away to the to stay at the woman's house, like, "You'll be safe there at the antique shop," and he realizes something else. He's like, "Yo, I gotta get out of here. Take me to back to my brother. Yo, I gotta, you know." And he stays on. Like, he's the first one that notices something strange. And I think he becomes most helpful throughout the entire situation. Even though he's limited by being a kid, he comes through, man, and makes it. And it has some really pivotal moments in getting through this, you know?
Dude, him being a child does not stop him from being a hero, okay? It's really cool seeing a young protagonist, but his determination is what really, like, works for me. His resilience as, like, he's like, man,
it's easy when you ain't got no life, you know.
Yeah,
like,
but dude, he's only 13 and he's fearless. Yeah, dude. Amongst all that stuff,
he ain't even started drinking yet or smoking weed, so he don't have them distractions.
In one of the deleted scenes, though, he gets ripped with the brother. He drinks 6-dose Eckies.
Oh yeah, I remember? Yeah.
So they showed, but they decided to cut that out. But you know, one thing I really like about him is his resourcefulness. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, as he dives deep deeper and deeper and deeper into trying to figure out what's going on with the tall man at the mortuary and all that other stuff. The brother tries to keep him away from him, almost, especially once they see the finger and he's trying to protect him. There's this one part where he's like, man, Jody says, I'm going back up there and you not coming with me. Locks him in his room. Dog, Mike he gets MacGyver mode. He takes a hammer, a shotgun shell, and some tape and a nail. Does some MacGyver work and blows a hole through the door. Strongly advise anyone who sees this movie, don't try that at home. You'll probably die. You'll probably die.
I think later on in the sequels, we'll see some more of that resourcefulness, especially with the weapon and stuff. Like, I feel like this one just kind of establishes things and gets it going. Like, it's sloppy with doing that, but I feel like the sequels actually surpass what's going on with this in a lot of ways, man. Like, especially even as far as narrative, because you told me earlier this was a 3-hour cut that got trimmed down.
Yes.
And it feels like it because things are happening, but there's no time to explain. Things aren't linked together properly. Like, even earlier, we just saw this, a worker at the look like the funeral home, but like, you know what I'm saying? She just pops up like, hey, you guys. I'm like, yo, where did she show up earlier in the movie at all? That's our only scene. Yeah. It don't make no fucking sense. Yeah. So I feel like a lot was probably cut off of this, and they did what they could to make it coherent. Maybe the studio asked them to trim it down to close to 90 minutes, you know.
I mean, it's definitely like to your point. It's definitely it's a B-rate independent film. I mean, the one thing that I could see from this is that, you know, Coscarelli, he's still scratching the surface. He's still trying to, like, you know, establish himself and kind of create his lane with what seems to be limited resources. Yeah. You know what I mean? One thing I do applaud him for is this is his third film. First film was it Jim the Greatest? I think it's called Jim the Greatest. And then the second is Kenny and Company. And he actually uses a lot, and then this one. The first two came out 76. This one came out in 79. He uses a lot of the same actors, actresses in all the films, which, you know, it's good because then you kind of, you know, you build the rapport and you know, the actors kind of know what he expects of them on screen and vice versa, and he knows what he can kind of get out of them. So I'm sorry, it's Jim the World's Greatest. So but yeah, man, I think that was really cool. And then, you know, with the success of this film, I mean, when you think about it, dog, this was shot on I want to say it was a $500,000 budget. Let me check the numbers right quick. I'm sorry, $300,000 budget. In the U.S., it made $6.8 million. Worldwide, $22 million. So that's why
definitely probably based on that poster.
Yeah,
you didn't really have a big trailer thing that we had going on today. I don't even think you could show a trailer for this type of film on TV. I think they might have got radio spots back in the day and maybe newspaper ads. So that's probably really good for them.
I mean, and also this film almost got blacklisted out the gate because it initially got a rated X rating from the MPAA.
It doesn't feel like an X rated.
Well, film. You know what it was is
did they make cuts before they released it?
What it was is that the part where the caretaker, the first guy to get killed with the sphere, after he gets killed and drilled, when he hits the ground, you see his feet, and it shows he pretty much, you know, when he dies, he pisses himself, and you see the piss come out.
That was enough.
I guess that was too realistic.
You know what?
So
it is?
What they did is
I feel like that MPAA was really freaky, and one of them. He's like, damn, they're going to know about my fetish.
Yeah.
If we keep this pee up in here.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So, I don't know, man. That's a weird thing to cut. Because this is really mild compared to other stuff that was coming out at the time.
You would think. I mean, you compare this to like I don't know, like The Exorcist.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Other thing I think the note is this theme that goes in throughout this thing, man, and it's definitely a Halloween clone, but this thing kind of distinctive in its own right.
Yeah. Dude, what? I've been humming it all week. And I mean, dude, the amount of artists on various platforms, various genres of music that have used it. I mean, Mobb Deep used it twice. They used it once.
The GOD Part 3,
and then Alchemist also did a remix with them. Dougie Fresh used it, and then there's a handful of metal bands that have used it, and if it's not the theme, they're also using quotables from the Tall Man. You know what I'm saying? Then with the theme as a undertone and everything. I mean, it's definitely it's memorable, and you know, it's something that will sit with you, and it plays throughout the course of this whole movie, which also Coscarelli said that he was just going to play it at the beginning and the end, but he felt that it was more form-fitting to the tone of the film and the tone setting. And it does, because the fact of the matter is that he said that he wanted to create this film and it'd be like kind of like a roller coaster ride where there's thrills, chills, and, you know, unexpectedness, you know, every 3 to 5 minutes. And you're getting some kind of horror element every 5 minutes or so in this movie. You know what I'm saying? No matter how big or small it is, you know, so I think that the theme helps with that. And then also, I like the effects. I mean, sometimes, you know, I've said it 1,000 times, less is more. For me, my most favorite part, I mean, the silver balls are the icons of the film. Everyone who's seen Phantasm knows the floating balls. I mean, the spheres with the spikes, and they'll hit you in the head, they'll drill you and drain your blood. But, dude, that part where he cuts the finger off, I mean, for starters, yellow blood. I thought that was really cool, really inventive, and it's something so simple, but just to make them have yellow blood made it just seem a little more impactful.
Also makes it less easier to get through the ratings board.
Through the ratings, yes. But then, dude, that part where the finger actually turns into that big ass like bee thing, like
this is weird, bro.
It was weird. Watching it now as an adult, I was like, that's kind of funny. But when I was a little kid. Okay, see, like, I had one of the, you know, my mom, she predisposed me to run from bees. So, as a little dude, ever since I can remember, you see a bee, you run, okay? So, I still, in my mindset now, at my age now, I see a bee, I'm like, I ain't running, but I'm getting out of the way. You know, we're gonna vacate the premises. So, you know, to see that as, at the early age that I saw this, I was like, holy shit, what would I do if I saw a finger-sized bee, and then it was on my head, you know what I'm saying? So I thought that was really cool, and you know, just like the little things, the dream sequence where he's, you know, the tall man is standing over his bed, you know, kind of like hovering over him.
Wow.
These are things where, like, you can see, like,
there's some creativity going on, you know, and like you said, using your resources to maximum effect and give us. My favorite shit is the end, though. Like, I love that. When we get a glimpse into that alien world, you know, through that dimensional portal, there's some cool stuff there that we only get a taste of it here. That's why I like the sequels, I think. Or at least the one sequel I saw, part 2, I think it better because we got more time with that cooler imagery and stuff in that world. We get more of a, you know, like I said, this thing feels chopped together and like a lot of stuff is missing. But with those sequels, I think they explore some more of that stuff a little bit more, you know?
Well, and also with, you know, the inflation in budget, I mean, they went from having hundreds of thousands to having millions to invest in the future films, and also creating a household name with the franchise. Also having the confidence in themselves to push a little harder, and probably getting a little bit more support from the production companies and everything. I mean, this is definitely one of the solid instances where this one laid the groundwork, but like you said, the other films that preceded this are definitely you know, way put together better. You know what I'm saying? Like, personally, I really like the third one, and you know, I like that they keep the same actors and actresses. I mean, you know, a couple of course they kept Angus Scrimm as the tall man, because you can't not have him. But then also Reggie Bannister, man, he's like shows up in all of them, and I want to say Michael Baldwin, he showed up in quite a few of them as well. So and also all of the installments of the franchise were directed by Coscarelli. So that's really cool, you know, because a lot of times it gets a little cash grabby when you get later on in the franchises. It gets sold to this person, that person, this production company, and then, you know, different writers, different directors, different visions, you know, and it starts just tree branching all over the place. So this one kind of still stayed on one kind of course path. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you do, I feel like in conclusion, man, you know, check it out. Like, I think it's still worth watching, man. If you're a fan of this genre, you know, the horror genre. I think it has ample contributions. And you can see this thing on right now on I think Tubi has it, as well as Amazon Prime Video, and they have the remastered versions, which is the best looking you're going to get. I wish Blood of Heroes looked like this.
Yeah,
this looks like it looked when they first put it out, man. There's no artifacts. You don't get that weird film, you know, noise that you know these older films can tend to have. But yeah, man, check it out, man. Phantasm 1979. All right, folks, man, we out of here. Make sure you like and subscribe to the video. You know, buy some merch, man. Help us out. We got different levels of support there, man. Different levels of merch. Also, you catch us at Classes of Cinematics on Instagram, and you catch me at Monkey Blood on Twitter and Instagram.
And it's Bobby Blockbuster. You can always catch me on the next show. And he just did the hammer, John.
I was like, man,
didn't even know. Look, he about to blow his damn hand off.